What's up, Steelers Nation? Welcome back to another episode of a Steelers Fix Daily, where we don't sugarcoat it, we live it. We talk about the black and gold like we've been doing it since the terrible towels were first twirling. We celebrate the highs, grind through the lows, and find the truth in between. Now yeah, Thursday night didn't go the way any of us wanted. The scoreboard doesn't lie. But football's bigger than one night, and when you really dig into it, there's a lot to like about what we saw from our Pittsburgh Steelers. So tonight, or today, depending on when you're listening, we're diving deep into the silver linings from that loss because the tape told a completely different story than the final score. And then we're going to spin this forward into what's next, a massive Sunday Night Football showdown against the Green Bay Packers. Rodgers back in Lambeau, primetime lights, a chance to remind the football world that the standard is still the standard. All right, grab your terrible towel, maybe crack open that Iron City, and let's talk some Steelers football. Here we go. Let's start right at the top. Aaron Rodgers. Man, say what you want about age, about change, about the move, but that dude still slings it like few in history ever have. 4 touchdowns on Thursday night. That's not just numbers. That's command. That's timing. That's trust. And here's the crazy stat. Rodgers is the only quarterback in the league this season to have multiple 4-touchdown games. Not Mahomes, not Allen, not Burrow. It's Rodgers, wearing the black and gold, doing what legends do. And that Hail Mary he unleashed? That wasn't just a prayer, that was power, precision, and pure physics defiance. The longest in-air throw recorded since 2017. That ball traveled over 69 yards in the air. Think about that. 41 years old, clean mechanics, pure torque, and that flick of the wrist that's defined a generation of football. When that ball left his hand, you could feel every Steeler fan holding their breath. The crowd noise faded, the camera followed it like a comet, and for a second, time froze. It's one of those throws that makes you remember why football is beautiful, because hope literally hangs in the air. Now beyond the stat line, beyond the 4 touchdowns, it's what Rodgers didn't do that impressed me most. He didn't flinch, he didn't blame, he didn't point fingers. He kept that sideline calm. He coached up Roman Wilson mid-drive. He told Jaylen Warren, "Stay patient, it's coming." That's leadership. This isn't a quarterback who's just trying to survive his last years. This is a guy who wants to prove he can still elevate everyone around him. And you saw it. The way he commands the field, the way he reads defenses, the way the offense moves with rhythm when he's in sync. That's not something you fake. That's legacy-level control. Speaking of guys rising around him, let's talk about Jaylen Warren. Man, this kid just refuses to be tackled. Every single time he touches the football, he runs like he's fighting for rent money. That's the kind of edge you can't coach. He's built like a bowling ball, but he's got that low pad level, elite balance, and violent finish that makes defenders hate seeing him in space. And it's not just the runs, it's the timing of them. 3rd and 4, swing pass out to the left, Warren hits it, puts his foot in the ground, and turns it into 12 yards. It's like every touch is a statement, and Rodgers loves him for that. You can see the trust developing. Rodgers looks to him as that safety valve, but also as a tone setter. And you know what tone that is? Physical. Old school. Steelers football. And then there's Roman Wilson. Man, how can you not get excited watching this kid grow week after week? The route running, the toughness, the poise. He's fearless going over the middle. He doesn't blink when he's getting pressed by vets. You can see Rodgers start to rely on him in those layered concepts, the ones where timing is everything. And it's not just his athleticism, it's his understanding. Rodgers said it this week. Roman's picking up the nuances of spacing like he's been in the league 5 years. That's huge for a rookie. And you can tell the coaching staff is starting to trust him more too, giving him motion looks, jet sweeps, even check release routes. That's what separates average rookies from future playmakers. He's not just learning the playbook, he's learning the quarterback. Now let's give some love to the big fellas up front, the offensive line. This group has taken more heat than anybody early in the season, but Thursday, they showed up. They protected their guy. 0 sacks. That's the kind of stat that changes everything. Broderick Jones looked every bit like a franchise left tackle. Smooth kick slide, heavy hands, and calm against pressure. Isaac Sumalo continues to be the steady veteran presence, setting calls, keeping the group composed. And how about rookie center Zach Frazier? Man, that dude is settling in quick. No panic in his snaps, no blown assignments. It's starting to feel cohesive, and that's dangerous for defenses. Because once Rodgers gets that clean pocket, you know what happens. 4 touchdowns happen. Efficiency happens. Balance happens. And you saw it. The offense wasn't desperate. It was methodical. And listen, I gotta shout out Pat Freiermuth. He looked like the heartbeat of the passing game again. You could just feel it. 3rd and 7, Rodgers looks his way. Boom. First down. He's that chain mover, that steady presence that opens up everything else. And when you've got a veteran quarterback like Rodgers, having that tight end who can find soft spots in coverage is gold. Freiermuth isn't flashy. He's just reliable. And in this league, that's worth everything. The Steelers' offense looked smoother with him healthy, no question. So when you zoom out, you see a game where the offense finally looked balanced, connected, confident, even in a loss. And that's what you hang your hat on moving forward. Because you can build on that. You can win with that. Now let's turn the page. Because this Sunday, primetime, it's Steelers versus Packers. Aaron Rodgers, Lambeau Field. A storybook setup that Hollywood couldn't script better if they tried. Rodgers walking back into the stadium that made him a legend. Only this time, the cheeseheads aren't cheering. They're watching their old hero line up against them. Man, this one's got emotion written all over it. The Packers are a decent football team, 3-3, trying to find identity with Jordan Love. Love's got arm talent, but he's inconsistent under pressure, and that's where TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith come in. This is a game tailor-made for that duo to feast, because Green Bay's tackles have struggled with quick-edge speed, and nobody brings it faster than number 90. You can already picture it, Watt screaming off the edge, Lambeau crowd holding its breath, Rodgers watching from the sideline, smirking like, yeah, that's my defense now. And this defense, even with some bumps, has playmakers everywhere. Patrick Queen's leadership, Peyton Wilson's athleticism, Benton in the middle, Cam Hayward holding the standard. It's a front seven that's getting more comfortable every week. And Sunday night, under the lights, you know they'll feed off that energy. Tomlin always has this team ready in big games. He just does. And Rodgers? He's built for that stage. This one's going to be about emotion, timing, and composure. Because the Packers are young, the Steelers are seasoned, and sometimes that's the difference under those bright primetime lights. Now I want to touch on the legacy angle for a second, because this is one of those rare moments in sports that feels bigger than football. Rodgers walking into Lambeau not as a visitor, not as an enemy, but as a living piece of that place's history. Every inch of that field has his fingerprints on it, from Hail Marys to comeback wins, to those cold January nights where he made magic happen in the snow. And yet here he is, in black and gold, leading a new team with a new purpose. That's full circle football, man. And if you know Rodgers, you know this means something to him. He'll never say it outright, but players of that caliber, they internalize moments like this. They remember the people who doubted. They remember the headlines that said, he's done. And they write their own next chapter. So don't be surprised if Sunday night, Rodgers goes vintage. Quick releases, crossbody lasers, hard counts that make Lambeau jump offside. He's going to have that extra juice, and the team's going to feed off it. Here's how I see it going. Steelers control tempo early, mix in Warren on the ground, get Freiermuth and Wilson involved on those intermediate routes, and open it up deep once the safeties bite. Rodgers throws 3 touchdowns, 1 to Freiermuth, 1 to Wilson, 1 to Metcalf. Warren punches in another. Defensively, Watt gets his strip sack moment late, because that's what he does. And the Steelers walk out of Lambeau with a 27-20 win that tells the whole league, yeah, we're for real. This game's going to be emotional. For Rodgers, for Tomlin, for fans who've waited years for stability at quarterback. But it's also a statement game. Oh, we're not just surviving, we're competing type of night. You can feel it. The chemistry's coming. The offense is clicking. The defense is tightening. And the locker room believes. So yeah, Thursday stung. But sometimes you take a loss to find your true identity. And if Thursday was any indication, the 2025 Steelers are starting to figure out who they really are. A team that can punch, counterpunch, and keep standing tall. That's what Pittsburgh football has always been. Tough, resilient, unapologetic, and with Rodgers at the helm, that fire's burning again. All right, Steelers Nation, that's going to do it for this episode of Steelers Fix Daily. Make sure you hit that follow button, share it with your crew, and check out the full article now up on the SteelersFix.com for all the breakdowns, highlights, and quotes from the week. We'll be back after Sunday Night Football with full reaction, locker room notes, and hopefully another big win to talk about. Until then, keep waving those towels, keep believing, and remember, the standard is the standard. Here we go, Steelers Nation. Here we go. Thanks for tuning in to this special episode of Steelers Fix Daily. Make sure to follow us on all platforms and check out the full article tribute to the Steelers' effort last Thursday, now live on SteelersFix.com. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Until next time. This is the Steelers Fix signing off. Here we go.